Welcome and hope you're doing well. We're going to talk about the 5 things we learned from Donald Woods and reveal those highs and lows. And hopefully it will inspire or even motivate you. As we only judge a person by their character, not race, color or religion. So please join our multicultural family if you are new. My name is Bobby Sayed. I am the founder of the Emma Show. As you can see from these articles, Donald didn't have an easy life. Let's hear from Donald Woods, one of our Emma patrons, who took down the apartheid government, as well as initiating 16 out of 37 lawsuits against them, and won them all. Lord Richard Attenborough, an Emma winner, brilliantly captured the life of the 1970s apartheid era in South Africa, with his 1987 epic drama film Cry Freedom, which paid homage to a pair of books written by Donald Woods himself about the life of his friend, Steve Biko, the black activist who died in police custody in Pretoria in September 1977 after 6 days in detention and 22 hours of interrogation, handcuffed, manacled and tortured. After Donald Woods escaped the South African evil regime following a banning order, he gave 462 lectures at universities and colleges around America alone. He briefed 37 Western governments about the apartheid regime and received numerous awards, honorary degrees, a Nieman Fellowship, an invitation to address the UN Security Council, the first ever issued to a private citizen, and lastly a CBE from the Queen, plus had This Is Your Life TV show about him, which I had attended.
I think Emma is vitally necessary, doing wonderful work here, and I think the cross-cultural aspect is so important in any country, especially in any multicultural country, and we can't do too much to support it.
Number 1, curiosity. Donald James Woods CBE was born in Hobeni, South Africa on the 15th of December 1933. His father, Jack Woods, brought Donald and his brother, Harland, up following the racial apartheid between South and North Africa that had been followed by 5 generations, speaking fluent Xhosa, a native language of South Africans and Zimbabweans. During the 1930s, Africa was still experiencing the ripping efforts of the continent colonial divide of the 1800s between Britain, Portugal, France and Italy. Nationalist leaders across the land began to rise up to challenge colonialism following the devastating Fashuda incident, the climax of imperial dispute between Britain and France in East Africa in 1898. Nevertheless, Donald and his family lived in a wealthy household. His mother and father worked running a trading post in Hobeni, much where Donald began to understand discrimination from a young age against inhabitants who managed to migrate to the south, where there were more opportunities. He attended the very strict Christian Brothers College, who were legitimizing the region's conservative values and racism, dismissing any concerns towards politics. Against the school's values, Donald began forming his own political opinions, discussing later how he believed earlier on that the North and the South Africans should be separate in their economic and cultural development. Donald's interest into the world of politics grew massively following the rise and parliamentary backing of the National Party in 1948. He began to see a direction in his life, studying tremendously hard to study the subject at university. However, much to his dismay, his parents were not keen on his eagerness to study politics and encouraged him to study law in order to find employment in the UK, who had recently come out of World War II and were looking for people across Caribbean, Asia and Africa to help rebuild the country. Number 2, belief. In 1952, Donald started his law degree at the University of Cape Town. It was here where he began immersing himself into the world of politics, becoming active in the anti-apartheid Federal Party, who exposed the great obscene lie of apartheid. In spite of his parents, he switched courses to journalism. The more he began taking part in political discussions, the more Donald found himself questioning the separatist views that he had grown up with and grew concerned with the workings of the Afrikaner National Party. In 1957, Donald ran for a seat in Parliament of the Federal Party in Cape Town after he was approached by the party to do so. While he did lose, Donald finally found his direction in life and moved to the UK, taking a part-time position as a journalist at the string of newspapers in London. Following the end of his degree, he spent the next 2 years as a legal apprentice, partaking in more parliamentary debates in the UK, where he stirred further and further away from his parents' wishes of becoming a barrister. His time as a journalist sent him across the world, including Canada and other countries in Africa. He found himself embracing different cultures from people around the world and experienced different forms of societal racism. By 1960, he had returned back to East London in South Africa, finding employment at the conservative newspaper, the Daily Dispatch. 2 years later, he married Wendy Woods, a music teacher. Both Donald and Wendy converted their faith to Catholicism, and she soon became an active part of Donald's campaigning and political involvement. Donald's skills as a journalist paid off in 1965, where he became the editor-in-chief of the Daily Dispatch. Under his leadership, he integrated both black and white members of staff, promoted anti-apartheid values. His new position also made him a political correspondent for the Daily Herald, based in London. This enabled him to continue traveling to America, where his political ideology became more and more informed. The newspaper quickly became notorious for its critical stance of the government, and Donald was prosecuted several times for violating segregation laws. The editor-in-chief stood his ground, successfully suing the government for defamation. Donald and Wendy went on to have 6 children. However, their 4th son, Lindsay, born in 1970, tragically died from meningitis just before his 1st birthday. Number 3, risk-taking. The mid-70s brought a new wave of black consciousness in South Africa, with the growing popularity of anti-apartheid activist Steve Biko, who, with the Black People's Convention, helped empower black communities with the slogan, "Black is beautiful." In 1973, he was placed under a banning order, and in August 1977 was arrested. Donald met with the Minister of Police, James Kruger, requesting the ease of Steve's banning order, and was placed under police surveillance as a result. Donald and Steve became good friends as the journalist continued to uphold his multicultural values through his paper, following the student uprising of 1976 that led to hundreds of deaths in the name of the Black Consciousness Movement. On the 12th of September 1977, Steve died in police custody as a result of police brutality. Donald quickly found himself at the forefront of the Black Consciousness Movement, using his paper to spread the truth about his dear friend's death, and began writing the leader's biography. His voice was silenced, with his position at the paper removed, and his children being attacked. Later in 1977, he and his family escaped Lesotho within South Africa, after making it to Maseru and Botswana. Donald managed to fly his family to London, where they were granted political asylum. During their exile, other papers around Britain and South Africa began following the family's move to London, spreading the values of Steve Biko's campaign and inspiring our multicultural values. This was noted by me at my student union bar, named the Steve Biko Bar at University of Bradford in the late 1980s, in honor of Steve Biko. Number 4, resilience. Once arriving back in London, Donald continued to spread the word of Biko, aligning with the African National Congress President Oliver Tambo and publishing articles about South African segregation, making him one of the best journalists working in the UK. In 1978, he was invited to the United Nations Security Council on the issue of mandatory arms and economic sanctions against the South African government, becoming the first private citizen ever to do so. Later in 1978, Donald published Biko, a biography about his late friend and his fight against the apartheid regime in South Africa, as well as the societal and institutional racism that surrounds politics. The book was critically received and won the Conscious in Media Award and the World Association of Newspapers Golden Pen of Freedom Award. As mentioned earlier, in 1987, Lord Richard Attenborough directed Cry Freedom, which he cites to be an adaptation of Donald's book, starring A-listers like Denzel Washington, who plays Steve Biko, and Stephen Klein, who plays Donald Woods. Here is an amusing extract from the film as a reminder of the contentious issues in this country.
But why do you use a phrase like black is beautiful?
Because black is commonly associated with negatives. The black market, the black sheep of the family, anything which is supposed to be bad.
Then why do you use the word? Why call yourselves black? I mean, you people are more brown than black.
Why do you call yourselves white? You people are more pink than white.
In 1983, along with the United Nations Security Council and the African National Congress, formed the Lincoln Trust, which continues to this day, running programs in support of ethnic minorities here in the UK. Around the same time, Wendy was helping raise the children who were finding it hard to adapt to UK, finding also work in the International Broadcasting Trust. Donald returned to South Africa in 1994 to help with a fundraising event in Johannesburg. It was greeted with a cheering crowd in support of his multicultural values. Donald remained there for a few more years, working with up-and-coming journalists at the Institute for Advancement of Journalism, passing down his expertise and values to the next generation of journalists. Number 5. Passion. In September 1997, Donald unveiled the statue of Biko in East London, South Africa, alongside Nelson Mandela, as well as the Biko Bridge across Buffalo River in South Africa. Later in 2001, Donald returned to the UK to unveil the statue of Nelson Mandela in honour of the efforts in support of our multicultural values, as Donald had requested my support in this project and ultimately delivered by Lord Attenborough after Donald Woods' sad death.
I believe in heroes, and as you know, this evening's event is dedicated to Donald Woods and his wife Wendy and children who are also here this evening. And before Donald left us, in fact only a day or so before he went, he asked me to make him a promise, and it was that I would do everything in my power to see if a monument could be erected to Nelson Mandela in Trafalgar Square.
Donald Woods has been described as a brave editor who sacrificed much to fight for decency and justice by the former president of South Africa, President Thabo Mbeki. We must all celebrate and share Donald's multicultural values and hunger for change, because that will help educate others and little by little make the world a safer and better place. Unfortunately, on the 19th of August 2001, Donald Woods passed away with cancer in London. Since his death, as well as Wendy's death in 2013, the world has gone on to remember Donald Woods' valiant effort with his son Dylan, changing his father's foundation to the Donald Woods Foundation, where lies the Donald Woods Garden in Surrey, as well as the Wendy Woods House. The charity has continued to grow and develop, providing a safe space for those in need of a home, as well as business startups. In summary, Donald Woods is part of our cultural makeup. Maybe conflict based upon stereotypes through any racism will not be supported by the mainstream media. This is why we have encouraged everyone to create a better understanding of each other's cultures. So why don't you join our multicultural family if new, to support true social cohesion and end those unnecessary conflicts through ignorance? Why don't you leave a comment and share your own thoughts on Donald Woods' legacy. Do you regard him as a leading pioneer who strived for justice and equality within South Africa and represents those multicultural values? And let us know if we have missed anything. Would really appreciate a like or even a subscribe, and if possible, please donate on Patreon, however little the amount, to support this channel's ongoing mission to undertake multicultural campaigns. And remember, it's what's inside that counts, a motto we have used at the Emmers. As Donald Woods has proven, you don't have to be black or brown to represent or even support those multicultural values. So until next time, thank you for watching and keep it multicultural.